Hi everybody! I'm trying to put you on my stand really fast. I looked up after typing in the title and saw that I was live, so saw that I needed to go live, and so I just turned you on really fast. So, I hope that I'm not sideways, so I'm going to check my computer really fast. Hi Kayla! And Elijah too, if he's with you. I missed your call today because I was sleeping. I was totally taking my Sunday nap because I have not had a Sunday nap in a long time. Well, sort of. Last week's Sunday nap was at my in-laws' house, and I literally fell asleep sitting next to Jeff on the couch with everything else going on in the room. So I probably didn't get much of a nap. But I'm going to turn on and mute my computer and have everything set up here. Oh, good. Hi, buddy. You get to see Momo today. It's almost been averaging a little conversation almost every single day with him. So that's been really fun. Okay, wonderful. I'm not up and down. I'm side to side, and that is what I wanted. So we are good here, and I can watch comments. I have our new catalogs. So these are live now, and so if anyone wants me to walk through it there we go. Oh no, it flipped again. Go back, go back. How do I switch it? All right, what did I do? Here, if I flip and flip. Why is it doing that? I'm sideways. Am I sideways on the screen? Hi, Lauren and Sherry. Okay. It's flipped my screen on my phone, but oh, I did. So sad. Okay. If anyone knows how to switch this really fast, that would be amazing. I have not flipped it before. And so I am not sure is it that button? No, that's just to switch screens. I might have to go off and on. Am I okay? Okay, if I'm good, then I'll leave it alone and I'll just ignore this part and be good. So I won't restart it or anything. But what I was saying is that I have my catalogs, and I would love to look at them with you guys if anyone wants to. I know a lot of times I have fellow demonstrators who are joining me. So tonight's cards are kind of inspired by the fact that I am constantly having leftover designer series paper when we switch catalogs over. And so when I got home from our trip on Tuesday night, I literally spent all day Wednesday either taking my daughter to get a haircut or doing laundry because my husband was going out of town on Thursday morning. And so I did not get to sit down in my craft room until yesterday, because I did all of the important things like laundry and making sure my kids went to school, and I got everything done for them, and my husband got home yesterday. But I trapped myself in my craft space yesterday, and I got to pull out all the stuff that I haven't used in 2.5 weeks. And so I just looked through everything that was now retired out of the old catalog, and I don't like to share that with you guys because I don't want to share things that you can't get. So what I tried to do is I wanted to make some cards using some of those retiring products because I just hate them sitting there when I could use them. But what I decided to do is take some of those cards that I was using retired product with and then create a design kind of mirroring it using either current or brand new product. So you'll have a card that has retiring product or some retiring product, and then you will have a card that looks almost identical to it. It's just using either current or brand new product. So I have a lot of stuff that I got ready yesterday, but all of the cards that I have are super easy, quick cards that anyone could make really, really fast. So I'm going to really try when I'm putting my camera up there to not flip it weird, because if I'm sideways now and I flip it, then I don't want to switch it on the screen. So I'm going to flip around and we're going to get started, because I think I literally have I have a possibility of like 6 different things, because I just wanted to show an example in all of those. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm so happy to be crafting with you again after what seemed like a break of forever. I think I only missed 2 Sundays, but it felt like way, way longer than that. Not having all of my craft goodies was draining. When I go out of town and I only have limited things and limited space and limited time, it drains me. And I was so happy to be in here again yesterday, so I'm excited to share it with you guys. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to get started. Okay, we're going to try really, really hard to put you in here. And I did not practice putting you in my thing here. So I'm going to try. Oh, and now I'm sideways. Oh, I was already. Okay. I'm going to take this as an okay thing. I'm going to clip my cord up here. And I'm really, really hoping Facebook is not going to be mean to me today, because last time I could not put my video on YouTube because it just would not let me take it off of Facebook. So I think I'm in the screen. I'm going to look on the computer for comments because I'm pretty sure that I'm in here the right direction. So if anyone sees anything weird, I'm going to back my light up a little bit here so in case there's a glare. So one of the reasons why I came back and still had a lot of inspiration with my retired product is because I was awful with getting Christmas cards out this year. And I literally, all I did while we were on vacation was I took my pile of completed cards and I filled them out over Christmas break because I had not sent any out. And so my goal was to at least get out the ones that had sent cards to me, because I just feel like my goal is always to send out my Christmas cards. And when I make cards constantly, I feel awful when they just sit here and they don't get mailed. And so my goal was to send them out to the people who at least sent cards to me. And so I have them all filled out and they're ready to go to the post office tomorrow. Everyone that has sent the Madison family a card this year is already getting a card back. So if you are one of those people that sent cards to us, they are coming. They're just slow. So I feel like I need to apologize because of my timing. So I'm going to move the cards that are done and we are going to get started. So I'm going to show you first the cards that I created out of the retired product. So these cards, and they're having trouble sticking because these embellishments are really, really big and bulky, and I didn't really think through what that would look like. So realistically, these probably would not stay if they were in an envelope. But I like those embellishments, so I'm going to keep trying to find a way to get them to stay attached. So these are the cards that I made first using that retired product. And I used our Peaceful Noel. I think that's what kind of designer series paper this was. It's super pretty because it has the copper metallic accents in that designer series paper. It was a specialty paper. And I love showcasing designer series paper because it is so versatile and there are so many different ways that you can use it, that it just shines. And so these cards are super, super easy. They are literally a base of 4¼ by 11 this way, because I like this fold sometimes. And then they are scored at 5½. And each one of these strips of designer series paper is cut at 5¼ by 1 inch. And so what I did was I cut out a piece of white cardstock on the back of these strips that I attached it to so that I can kind of move my layer around and that I could add my ribbon to. So what we're going to do today is we're going to put together, I've already cut out most of the pieces because I was kind of on a roll, and so I just kept cutting them out. And so all of the projects that I worked on yesterday, I made enough for us to make the mirror image to them with the either current or new product. So there are 4 different strips cut at 5¼ by 1 inch. And then I used our Starburst punch to cut out the one in the back. And then the other circle is our 2-inch circle. So this, where I put our sentiment, was a 2-inch circle. And that one I used the Peaceful Noel stamp set for. So this one is a retired stamp set now. And there are still cards that I'm going to send out even though they're late. And so I felt like Fill the Season with Happiness is something that lasts beyond Christmas and New Year's. So I was pretty confident that that wouldn't matter if I sent them out after Christmas. And so these 4 cards were inspired by the suite that came with this stamp set. So we're going to move these cards away, and then I'm going to work on the cards that are kind of mirroring them using the current or new product. So we're going to put that stamp set away and pull these cards aside. And I think yesterday I ended up making 2, 4, 6, 8, at least 8 cards in a matter of 4 hours. That's how excited I was to be back in my craft space. I just kept going and going. And so I was like, well, since I've made all of these cards, there's got to be a way that I can share them all with everybody. So we're just going to power through for these cards. So we're going to use the First Frost stamp set, which is still in the catalog. This one is carrying over out of our holiday catalog. And what they tell us is that these stamps and framelits will be available at least until June, when our new catalog comes out. So there's a possibility that they might add them into the new annual catalog, but they have at least guaranteed us that they will be there until June. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our clear block out, and for these cards we are going to use the stamp that says, "Here's to a season filled with warmth, comfort, and good cheer." And if you live in a place like me, hi Graham! If you live in a place like me, which is Minnesota, you know that your seasons are going to be cold still. Now, it's a little ironic because we have been having 40-degree days for the last 4 days. So it's not really felt like January here. So I know that cold is still going to be with us. And so I figured if I'm still mailing out Christmas cards, it's okay to wish them warmth because it's January. And most of the people that I'm sending cards to live in a place where it's still cold. So I thought that we would make, since I made 2 different patterns on the Christmas cards that I made, we would use the same one designer series paper pack, and we would do 2 different designs of the paper, just like I did with those other cards. So I'm going to put that alert away, and I'm going to show you this designer series paper pack is called Tranquil Textures Designer Series paper, and it has those navies, that Night of Navy, and the Tranquil Tide is the darker green. It has I think that is Rich Razzleberry. We will check on the back. Oh, it's Fresh Fig. Soft Seafoam, Balmy Blue, Crumb Cake, Mint Macaron, and Whisper White. So this card pack, although it wasn't intended for Christmas cards, these colors I feel are super pretty together, and they are going to be fun to send out to my friends and family in January with our Christmas letter, even though I'm late. So we are going to use our snail adhesive, and I forgot to pull it out, so I'm going to grab my little container here. This is what I use to store all of my adhesives and my bone folder and my paper snips and my paper piercer when I am taking things anywhere. So I just kind of keep it handy on my desk every time I'm wanting to create something, and then I have it all in one place together. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our stamp, and because we're using a red rubber stamp from the first Frost stamp set, again, it's this stamp that we're using here. They are a red rubber, and these are the old stamps, and so they're not the cling stamps like what we will have in our occasions catalog. But I'm excited to try those because I know that stamps clinging to the clear blocks has been a problem for a lot of people, and so I'm excited that they have come out with something to help with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Night of Navy, and again, this is an old stamp pad, and the new design I love. And the fact that the new design comes with a defoamer. My Night of Navy hasn't had as much of a problem. You can see a couple of little places where it may have bubbled. Hi, Dave! But I am not replacing all of my ink pads all at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking my sentiment and inking up in the Night of Navy, and then I'm just going to put it right on our circle. That's a 2-inch circle that I used our punch for. Oh, Lauren, that's so good to hear. I'm excited to try them. I have a list, but after Christmas is not a great time for me to spend a lot of money on all the things out of the new catalog that I want. So I'm trying very patiently to wait at least till one paycheck comes or something. But we'll see. We'll see how long I can hold off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Stampin' Scrub, and I'm going to spray it with my Stampin' Mist cleaner. This mist and cleaner, oh, I'm almost out. That'll be what pushes me over the edge, and I need to make an order for it, is the fact that I'm out of cleaner. The Stampin' Mist is actually something that conditions our stamps. So for our red rubber stamps, it is super important to condition them for them to last you a really long time. So I try to wash them every single time with my mist. I totally know what that is like, Lauren. And if I didn't have my hubby encouraging me the second we got home to save money, I would totally probably already have my list in a cart. But I've been trying to show self-control and be on the same team. So I know it's probably the longest that I will have ever gone without making an order after a catalog comes out, but it's something that I can do to be a team player. So what we're going to do to piece this card together, and I'm going to try really hard not to stick my head right in front of it. What I have done is I have cut out this piece of designer series paper that matched our pieces that we cut out. It just is this side and this side, so it's just a reversible. So I literally just used a chunk of that designer series paper. It wasn't even a full sheet of it to get all of these cards that I made. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our snail adhesive and put it on the back of our Whisper White circle, our 2-inch circle, and place it on our Starburst punch. And then next, since we're just messing with our circle, I'm going to take our silver mini sequins trim, and I'm just going to cut off, take my snips and just cut off a chunk just like that. Not too big. It's probably about 3.5, 4 inches, not quite. And we're going to kind of turn it and buckle it and hold it at the side here. Thanks for the encouragement, Lauren. I need it. I am not super patient when it comes to crafty things. And when the new catalogs come out, you just feel like you want it all. But I'm also trying to save up so that I can go to Onstage in April. And since that registration is coming soon, I should probably just make sure at least I can get to that. So we'll see. So what I did is I took this really cute little sprig that I made, or that I cut out of vellum, with our sprig punch, which I'm so excited is one of those holiday catalog products, the sprig punch, that I cut out of vellum. And I just cut one for each of the cards that we're working on for this design. And I was very excited to see that sprig punch stay in our carryover list, because it was one of the first things I got. So I was very excited. Yes, I am. I am hoping to go to Minnesota. It's not far from where I live. So it's about an hour and 15 minutes from where I live. So I was happy to go the last time they were there. And I'm hoping that everything works out for me to go this time too. So these are Stampin' Dimensionals, since I'm chatting. These are Stampin' Dimensionals that I like to put on all 4 corners. And usually I try to leave a gap for where the ribbon is going to go, but this time I may have not done it exactly right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our snail adhesive and we're going to put our paper, our designer series paper, on our Whisper White cardstock. This is cut at, oh yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to meet you there. This is cut at 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I only cut this out for the purpose of taping these pieces of designer series paper to it so that I could wrap a ribbon around it after they were adhered down. So I'm just putting it as close to the edge as possible. Hi, Andrew. Because I am trying my best to not let any white space show, but it is now that my eyes sometimes do what they want, and sometimes it's not what I wanted them to do. So, but I'm just trying to keep them lined up so that they're even with the top and the bottom. All right, so now what we're going to do is add our 4th piece. And again, these are cut, these pieces of designer series paper are cut at 5 1/4 by 1 inch. And I'm just lining them up across there. And so that is on the back there. So you can kind of see a couple of different places, but I'm not going to be super picky about it. This is our, I think it is our silver trim. I'm going to look at it quick. All right, I cut them all already to save time because there are so many cards that we're working on. This is our silver metallic edged ribbon, and it comes in approximately 10 yards, and this thing has lasted me a long time. So it is a great buy. And I just like to use Scotch tape to do the cheater method on the back of my card, which is why I wanted to tape our designer series paper down to something other than our base of our card, which is a Night of Navy base. So now we are done with our ribbon. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our adhesive, and I'm just going to put three long pieces on the back of our card, and then I'm going to leave just a tiny little border around the card here and fold it right across the crease there. Again, that was scored at 5 1/4. And so now all we're going to do is we're going to take the backings off of our card and just adhere that on here, just like that. So super easy, simple. Here's the one that I made earlier. And again, we were making these to go sort of coordinate with the ones that were retired. So these products, the designer series paper and the stamp set and the embellishments, all retired. But I wanted to use current or carrying over product to use a card to show that you can take some of those old designs and use current product on them and come up with something that will still be able to be shared with people. So I thought this is a way to still use some of my old product, but show a way that you don't have to only do new stuff. You can blend your old and your new. So this one is really pretty because I chose a different color palette, which we're going to do the same design, the same sentiment, so it'll go pretty quickly. And then I have a couple more cards to do with you guys. So again, this is our Whisper White, and I already put my stamp set away. I was so ahead of the game that I forgot I had another card here. The other ones that we're working on, I have cards that we could make together, but I might show you the new version and make the new version first, and then we'll see what time we have left. Because although I'm really happy to be crafting live again, I don't know that you guys want to be here all night with me crafting, which I could totally do, by the way. You can't sleep because you're not in bed. And I'm live. You want to say hi to everybody? On the computer here. They can't see you because the camera's this way. But you can say hello.
Hello.
So, here, I love you. Good night. You need to stay in your bed, though. Okay? Hey, I need you to try. Thank you. All right. Go on, Stella. I gotta kick my puppy and my son out of my room. It's always hard to have a... Oh, that's perfect. Well, we'll just hang out for as long as anyone wants to. So I'm using the Tranquil Tide ink, and this one is only in our catalog until June. So this is gonna go away really soon, and I love this color. So what we're gonna do is, sorry for the interruption. Hi, Mama. Malachi has a really hard time. He's my youngest. Once he has had a break, and he was only back in school for 2 days. But once he has a break, it is so hard for him to stay on a routine. He just wants to stay awake and thinks he can't sleep, and all of a sudden he has an excuse for everything. So I was kind of banking on the fact that he would probably be coming upstairs, and he let my kitty in the room. I think you can see her right over here. She's sitting on the table over there. So I'm just attaching our pieces the same way that I did the last card, and cutting just a little piece of our sequins, and then we will tape that on. That one's a little bit shorter. So I will put our sprig behind it this time. Okay, so I want to put it this way. So we're going to tape on that. So we're so happy to get back to our church today. It's always weird when you're away for even 1 week from your home base, because you notice all the things that you missed or that weren't the same. So I was very happy to be back today, and I got hugs from all of my littles, from my little kids in my class, and that is one of my favorite things about Sundays. And I was super excited to get to go and be a part of worship with our church first service. It's been a while since I've been able to sit in there because of helping out in other areas of the church on Sunday, so I was really happy to be able to be in there today. Hard to be away on those other days, but it definitely made me ready for my Sunday nap. That is for sure. Now these pieces are cut exactly the same as the last card that we just put together. They are 5 1/4 by 1 inch. And we are just using our snail adhesive and alternating colors. That one I don't like because there's too much white space. This is the joys of going live. You're going to see what it does when you rip it up. This is why a lot of people use Tombow Mono glue, because you have a little bit more give in time. But I will show you that you won't be able to tell when I put it back down. I'm just going to try not to put my head in the screen, and just put it right down, right where that mistake was. And you can't even tell, since I pulled it up right away. Snail is not quite as forgiving as Tombow Mono glue, which is the liquid adhesive glue. But Tombow reminds me so much of Elmer's glue that I just feel like it's not quite enough for me. That I feel like I'm back in elementary school with Elmer's glue, and it doesn't feel like it's going to do what I want it to. I don't know. I have some, and I use it for different things occasionally, but Snail is usually my go-to adhesive of choice. So what we're doing here is we're just putting our Scotch tape on the back of our silver edged ribbon, and we will put our adhesive down. Can you even see my kitty? What are you doing, Pink? I hope she doesn't try to climb on the table, because she did not get to go with us on our trip, and she has been following me around and sleeping on the foot of my bed. Oh yeah. Fast Fuse was something that I really wanted to be on board with, but I just did not ever get the hang of how to do the like check thing at the end to get it to cut off from the tape holder. And so I have probably 3 things of Fast Fuse that I have not used since I got it. But because they are not in our catalogs anymore, I've kind of used that as an excuse to not finish using them. But that is our other design to match up with our cards. So that was the first idea that I had to match up. So we have these 2 designer series paper from the same pack, and then these 2 from the same pack. I now have 8 cards that happen really, really fast using that same design of using the Starburst punch with the 2-inch circle with our sentiment. Not a ton of stamping today. We'll do a little bit more on the next card that we work on, but that is 8 more cards that I can send off really fast to family and friends. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a card. I'm going to try to move my already designed card. These are using new product, which I'm super excited about. The one thing I did manage to get before Christmas, was this Incredible Like You stamp set that is out of our new Occasions catalog. And I couldn't even tell you what page it's on. That's how little time I have had to go through the new catalog. I feel so bad. But oh, there it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. I think it coordinates. It doesn't. It just looks like it's supposed to. That's crazy. So this one, Incredible Like You, is on page 21 of the new catalog. And this one actually has a project kit that is on my list. This is one of the first things I'm going to get because I think these cards are beautiful, and the amount of watercoloring that's already on the designs that you don't have to do makes it perfect for beginner stampers who don't have a ton of space. It comes with a super cute box to hold your cards in. And this is the stamp set that they recommend that you have to go along with your project kit. So there are only a few things that you still need to complete the cards, such as adhesive, and they suggest that you have the Coastal Cabana and the Lovely Lipstick ink pads, and then this stamp set. So everything else comes in the kit. All of the paper, all of the envelopes, embellishments, all of that stuff comes in there, but they are just stunning cards, and the overlays that they have to go with it just are so pretty. So the other thing that I'm using today from the new catalog is the Designer Series paper, the Happiness Blooms Designer Series paper. So for these cards, I'm going to show you the new version first. So like last time I showed you what I made with the retired product, and then I showed you what design I came up with for the new. But for this one, we're going to use our new card first. And we're going to be using the Call Me Clover ink pad and the Incredible Like You stamp set. And all we are going to use from this stamp set this time is we're going to use the lines and do a tone on tone. So we're going to use the Call Me Clover on top of our base, our Call Me Clover base. So we're just going to do some lines right at the top here with these lines right here, and then we're going to use the sentiment, hope your day is amazing as you. And so it's super cute. I love the fonts in this stamp set. This was the first stamp set that stood out to me when I was looking through the catalog. I had a really simple taste for stamps, and so there were definitely several in this Occasions catalog that weren't super my style, but the more, it always happens, but the more projects I see used or created with the different stamp sets that weren't really my style, the more I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. I could totally see myself making something like that. So it always happens like that, and crafting friends are always the best at enabling you and making you want things that you didn't think you needed or wanted before. So these are the new ink pads, and the Call Me Clover is one that I have not used a ton, so it's kind of sticky. It's not quite as loose as the other one. So you literally just open it like a compact and slide it in just like that, and then you're done with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our lines first, and actually I am going to pull out our Stamparatus for this one because I remember when I was making the card the first time that there was a part that I had to re-stamp over again because I had not gotten a full coverage because I forgot to use my piercing mat underneath. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, and I already have my mat underneath it, but I'm going to line up my card just like that and use my Stamparatus to get my ink there. And then I'm so sorry if my stomach is loud enough for you guys to hear it. I did not think I was going to be hungry right now, but apparently I'm a lot more hungry than I thought I was going to be. So I'm just making sure that the lines go all the way to the edge. And actually, I'm going to pull out some grid paper and our magnet, because I think my magnet is on the bottom. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put our grid paper down just like that. We have this really cool grid paper that fits right in our Stamparatus. I love it. It was an amazing investment. So I'm going to move it right here, and I'm going to hope that I have a magnet that I can grab really fast. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've already inked that up, and it goes all the way across here. And I actually had full coverage the first time, so that worked perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my cardstock over. Since I know that it's fully across the top there, I'm just going to move it over right here. And it'll probably overlap here, but our lines are already matched up, so that's okay with me. So we're just going to push that down, and that is one reason why I wanted to use my Stamparatus, because I can put it down right in the same spot. So what we're going to do, just to give a little bit more strength and color because of the over covering lines, is I'm just going to do a little bit more color down and put it back right there and ink it up again to do one more color. If you can see, look where my stamp went. For the sentiment, it's on the back of the ink. That's where it is. So we're going to sit that down one more time just to kind of darken our lines there. So that is super easy. A great tip for using our Stamparatus there. I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to clean it up here in a second. So now, I totally forgot I had other things in my Stamparatus bag too. That is good to find them. Alright, so we are going to now do our sentiment, and this is going on an 2.5 by 1 1/8. I think it's a 1/8. It's just over 1 inch for our sentiment here. And I'm going to take it off the back. I'm going to flip it over. And then we are going to use our Call Me Clover for our sentiment as well. And I'm going to try to do it in the middle. Pretty close. Perfect. So then I'm just going to close up our ink by sliding that little bit forward to kind of give it a little bit of movement. And then we are done with our ink there. And I will clean up our Call Me Clover. Oh goodness. Because I've made 2 cards, we might not get to do the other one. We'll see. As long as you guys are good, I'll keep going. But I have a couple more still to do. Because I was just on a roll. I just wanted to keep creating. Alright, so this next part is super easy. And I did want to show you our Starburst punch is something that we are using on all of our cards today. So that's why I put that in our title there. This is Pineapple Punch cardstock, and I am just going to cut out one Starburst punch. I thought that it was really fun to put a little bright colored cardstock into this card because it goes along with the colors coordinated in the Designer Series paper there. So what we're going to do is we are going to put down our Lovely Lipstick, and the Lovely Lipstick one is cut at 5 1/4 by 1 1/2. So we are going to put some snail adhesive on the bottom half of our Lovely Lipstick. And even though this card is going to go landscape, we are going to line it up sort of portraits wise, so that I can line up our designer series paper with the edges. So I'm just leaving a little bit of a border, so you have like 3/4 or half an inch, I think. Yeah, 3/4 at the top. So you use some of it just to hold the adhesive down, but we're going to just put this layer down using our snail adhesive, and I love the back of that. This one was probably my favorite piece out of that whole paper pack. I think it has my favorite colors put together. The Night of Navy and Call Me Clover are two of my favorite colors that we have. So I thought that the lines were a really fun touch on the top. And it brought in a little tiny bit, not very much, a tiny bit more stamping into a really simple card. I am also using our silver metallic thread that you can get in our annual catalog. The designer series paper and the stamp set are from our occasions catalog that just came out on the 3rd of January. We're super excited about it. The items in the occasions catalog will be here until May. And then our annual catalog has the cardstock in it, as well as the silver thread. And we are going to put that down right here. And I'm actually just going to tape it directly to the base of the card that we just put down. And then we're going to put our little Starburst, Sunburst, the one that looks like a sunshine, right over the top of it with some dimensionals. So we are going to put dimensionals on the back here. And then I'm going to cut up the edges, it looks like, for some of these other cards. And then, actually, before we do that, I'm going to tape our sentiment down with some snail and put it on. I just really thought this was such a fun color to do with our sentiment here. Okay, just like that. So we only put adhesive on half of it to put it on the back of our Sunburst, Starburst. I'm gonna say it wrong now that I started saying it looked like a sun. That's okay. So we're gonna put this on, and I'm gonna try to put our sentiment straight, but I think my other card is not straight. So, but super easy, super cute. This is the one that I made yesterday, and my sentiment's a little bit crooked, but I loved how bright that card was and thought that it was really, really pretty for just going into the new year. This is the one that inspired it, and since it's really, really simple and it's just a sentiment that we're using, I'm going to create it with you guys anyway. This one is using retired designer series paper. This was some of my favorite paper that is retiring. So much of a favorite, in fact, that I have like a pack and a half. One of those packs is not even open yet because I love it that much. And it's just gonna sit there because it's retired now. So I'm gonna find more and more ways to use up my retired designer series paper. So this is the paper pack that it comes in, and you've seen me use this kind multiple times because I love it. But this designer series paper was the Frosted Floral Specialty Designer Series paper, and it has a beautiful shimmer in every single piece. And so when I hold this up, you guys can see just how beautiful that designer series paper is. And that is the back. So I wanted to use up some of my retired designer series paper and show you a current version of it. So because I am looking at the clock, I was paying more attention to the fact that we were going to have we were going to have a clock that was going late. But we are actually going to use this stamp set here, Wishing You All the Best. And this stamp set is actually staying, but this is the stamp set that coordinated with this designer series paper. And so I kind of wanted to pair them together so that you could kind of see. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to use this stamp set right here, or this stamp, It's this more bold one here at the bottom. For where we did the lines on the other card, and then we will do our sentiment down here, and I'll just trim up actually, I think I may have a smaller, maybe not. And we are using our Night of Navy because that is what our base is. And our base is 5.5 by 4 1/4 of a card. So this is 5.5 there, and it's by 8.5. And then we score it at 4 1/4, so it makes that size. So this actually is going to go on the inside of our card, and we're going to stamp that at the same time that we stamp our base. And then we will put that card together as well. So one thing that I did not think about when I was doing my card and when I was stamping this on the inside is what direction I was actually going to have my card. So we're going to ink that up in Night of Navy, just really good. And then since I did the other one this way, I'm going to do this one too. I have this going up. But before, when I was doing it, I was thinking, oh, it's just going to be at the bottom and it's going to not take up much room, but I think it still looks beautiful in there. So we're going to use our snail adhesive to put that in, but we're going to actually wait to adhere it down until after we have done our stamping with that same stamp on the top here of our card. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink this up each time, and we're just going to do tone on tone. And we are going to put one, and then our stems are kind of going to overlap, and we're going to go the opposite direction, and then I'm going to ink it up again, and then I'm going to go the opposite, and then the same again. We're going to go this way. So those just took place of where we did the lines on our last card. So we just have a little bit more of an interest at the top. And then we are done with that stamp. I'm going to clean it up really fast with my Stampin' Scrub. Now, the awesome thing about our Stampin' Scrub is that once I've sprayed it, I can use different colors on it, and it's not going to affect the stamps at all. So even though I've used a couple of different stamps to do our cards tonight, and a different color of ink for each one, it doesn't matter when I clean my stamps off at all. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put our inside piece in our card here, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of a border, and then we are going to get our sentiment piece wherever I put it. Did it go on the ground? It's hiding. Uh-oh. I did. I hid it. There it is. It got buried. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to use the bottom as a guide, and then I can trim it up because this one doesn't quite need to be as big. Wow, that was awful. I'm going to do it on the other side, not quite as straight as I thought I was going to be. Wow, I am so good at this. I'm going to trim it, and I'm going to see if I have another piece. Awesome. I do. Wow, I'm on a roll tonight, guys. I'm so sorry. You get to see me do all of my mess ups. Okay, so I'm going to try to put it a little bit more straight on my block. And then it's going to fall. Okay. Okay, we'll do this again because we make mistakes sometimes. And I'm going to go up a little bit so that I can trim it. There we go. So I'm going to trim that up with my paper trimmer, which I have on my other table back here with all the other things that I have yet to put away. So I'm going to try to trim it straight across there, and that is going to look crooked for now. Okay. Here. Oh, that's not gonna work. You know, guys, I think I may have trimmed it before a little bit differently, but I'm gonna use my snips for this part and just trim the bottom here like that. There, I eyeballed it. A little bit easier than that big trimmer. That's okay, because this is the process that it takes sometimes for me, especially if I've been chatting with you for an hour almost. So I'm going to set that aside, and then we are done with our Night of Navy ink. And do you guys have anything fun you're working on tonight? I know Lauren's working on swaps. Anybody else? All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put our base together. And this piece is the same as our lovely lipstick. It is cut at 5 1/4 by 1 1/2. And we're going to lay that down here again, just like we did with our lovely lipstick. And we're going to put our snail adhesive on the bottom half. I'm going to just rub that off while it's still available to be moved. Okay, so we're going to put it there, and we're going to put our designer series paper over the top of it and try to line it up with the edges there. And then we can tape that part down too. So I'm excited to have the first full week at home after break. We were gone for a long time. We were at my in-laws for 7 days, and we got to spend some really wonderful time with family members that we don't see but maybe once every 1.5 years, because we all live so far away. My husband has a brother that is from Seattle, and my sister-in-law and her family are from, actually they live in the same town that my brother does. They actually work at the same church there. So Jeff's sister and my brother both work together. So they live so far away from us that we don't make it that direction very often. And so it takes times like this that we actually get to spend our time together. So what you saw me doing just there was I did about 3 times around my finger with our silver thread, and I just taped it down to our base with some Scotch tape. And then I'm going to put our sentiment on with some snail here. It'll go right there. And then we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to put it down there. And I'm just going to do 4 this time. Sometimes I do 5 on our Starburst punch. That punch is probably one of my favorites that I've ever gotten. I use it for so much more than just card making. And then we're going to put our Starburst down just like that. So there is our retired product, our designer series paper here that I love, with the new stamp set and the new designer series paper. So an old one with a new one. I thought that one was really, really cool with the brighter colors. Makes me excited for sunshine days. So that is our second set of cards that we did. And then the last one is kind of up to you guys. If you guys want to keep watching, or if you are ready to be done, I can save these for next time. This one is another super easy set. I could just do one of them and show you the old inspired one first, and then we can make the current one. So this is the card that we are going to be mirroring. So I just did a stamp on the inside of this one because it's a dark piece, and so I needed to put an insert there. The new one won't need an insert, but this designer series paper I love. I love the colors in it. I used this as well as this, and then I just wanted to add a little bit more with this piece. They all came from the same paper pack that is Country Lane, I believe. I'm going to pull it out just in case. Yes, I was right. Country Lane designer series paper. And I loved this paper. I also have a pack and a half at least that I have not used, and I'm going to continue to look for ways to create projects out of it. So this is the card that inspired the new card. And so we're going to make the new card and not make this one again. So that'll be a lot of cards that we've done tonight. So this one is going to have the Rich Razzleberry ink pad, and I'm actually going to use some designer series paper that is in our annual catalog, and we're going to use some of this Rich Razzleberry velvet ribbon, which is beautiful and it's super soft, and it was not quite as difficult as I thought to make this cute little bow, which I made ahead of time because I thought it was going to take forever. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this old olive base this is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4.25. Hi, Shelly. So we are just creating some new products. Oh, you're totally fine. I'm not usually going this late, but I had so much fun creating yesterday that I had like 6 to 8 projects that I wanted to share with everybody tonight. So we're using up some of our old retired paper, and then as well as being inspired with current products too. So the stamp set that we're going to use today is Love What You Do. And the reason that I chose this one is because this card says, I'm so grateful for someone like you in my life, that I used with the Country Home stamp set right here. This one was a favorite for sure. Hi, Michaela. And so I wanted to use something that was like, to show that I was grateful for a friend. So I'm going to use this, I'm lucky to have a friend like you, to use with our new card that we're creating. So we're going to take our, I need to clean off that. I need to use my block from the last card. All right, so I'm going to use this clear block. Put that one with that set. There's one thing about this process that I didn't think about, was that yesterday I had like all day and I was moving stuff around like crazy, and I tried to have everything super organized to try to do all of these cards and projects, but I didn't quite think about the fact that all of these products were going to be out on my table. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our Rich Razzleberry. This is the old ink, and this is one thing that I wanted to show you about why I'm so excited that Stampin' Up! Created new ink pads. So if you can see with these, they're different in size a little bit, but when you open them up, this one has, now it's gonna show you how little I use that one. This one has the same foam on it, the Call Me Clover, and this one is also a foam, but they've redesigned it. And so if you can see that on there, the reason they redesigned the ink pads was because of this bubbling that is happening on my ink pad. Now, I totally want to replace this ink pad, and will probably do it in the next couple of months, because the bubbling is starting to affect some of the stamps that I use. But that was why they redesigned and put a defoamer so that it would stop the bubbling from happening. Because I got these ink pads really close together, so it shouldn't be bubbling, but with the foam and the ink that they were having, it was having a reaction. And so they redesigned the ink pads to help with that problem, and I'm so super excited about it. And little by little, I will have new ink pads that all match and that don't have the bubbles like the foam, the old ones. And so I just kind of twist it in hopes of not getting tons of bubbles to come up on my image. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp it in the middle of this scrap piece of paper, because I'm literally just going to cut it out. So I managed to get it so that it didn't have a ton of the bubbles coming up on it. So that came out great. So we're going to put that ink pad away now, and we will cut out our image. I'm just going to use my paper snips, and you'll get to see me do a little bit of fussy cutting. I don't tend to do this live on camera, so it's probably not going to look perfect like I would love it to, But there's nothing fancy about fussy cutting. It should not be stressful because it's not needing to be perfect, and when you're making something handmade, that means something. So I'm going to cut that piece off, and we'll cut across here and then down and out. All right, so we're just going to attach that to our Starburst here, kind of the same way that we did with the last set of cards that we made, and we're just going to put one side of it on here, just like that, because I like the rich razzleberry to show, and I kind of like when the sentiment hangs over the edge a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop that up with dimensionals and put our card base together. So I have cut our cardstock. Now this is just the reverse of this. This cardstock is some of my favorite because Old Olive is my all-time favorite Stampin' Up! Color. And so I was very excited to pull out that to be our new or current paper choice for this layout. What we're going to do is we're going to take our tape here, and I cut this velvet ribbon, this rich razzleberry ribbon, at 6 1/4 long, and we are I mainly do it that long so that I can make sure that I have enough to go around my card. That's literally how I measure it, is I put it up and say, as long as I have enough to tape down on the back, then that is the length that I need. So nothing super fancy. And then we just used Scotch tape to hold it down. I put adhesive on the back. I like simple cards that don't take a lot of stress thinking them through. But there are some days that I want to do the watercoloring and the techniques that take me a little bit longer, but I was so eager to make cards yesterday that they just kind of came out simple and easy and fast, and I was so excited that I got as many done as I did, because I feel like I made up for all the time that I was without my craft stuff. So I just took the backings off of our Stampin' Dimensionals, and this one is actually going to go over a little bit further than I even did my example, because of how big my bow is, and it was harder to get that side to lay down. And so I'm going to try to tuck that side underneath. But what we're going to use to adhere our bow, since I already have our bow done, is, now this one got done the fastest, I think. So we're going to use glue dots, and I just put the glue dots on the back of my bow. And I did a couple of them on my last one, so I'm just going to give this one the same amount. And so I'm going to put my bow partially under the Starburst punch, but it's super cute and I love how it came out. So this was my example. You can kind of see how it goes over my sentiment and doesn't really lay under it very well because I didn't have it over enough. But I love how they came out, and I think the colors are super beautiful together. So again, the card that we were making to go along with it, I probably am just going to make right now because I think it's super cute, and that one did not take very long at all. So if you guys are good for me to keep going for this last card, we'll put together this one too. But this one was inspired by this old product, and I just wanted to create something that was a mirror image of it, just to show that you can use current things when you miss your old stuff too. So we'll pull out those products really fast. So we are going to use the Country Home stamp set, and we are going to use the Early Espresso ink pad. Now this ink pad, I just got my re-inker, and I tried to re-ink it yesterday, so I'm hoping that it has what it needs in there, because it was dry and it needed it so much. So what we're gonna do with our ink pads tonight is we're going to use this stamp set. I'm so grateful for you. And actually, we're going to use one of these bigger blocks this time and do one here, and then we'll flip it over to the other side, and we'll do the one that we're going to use on the inside of our card. Okay, so we'll put that there. So we're going to do our sentiment first, and you can kind of see with my early espresso ink that I have some bubbling on that one as well, a little bit. Not quite as bad as the rich raspberry, but still enough for it to need fixed. So I'm just going to stamp this down, and we're going to fussy cut this one out as well. Yep, it's still a little bit not strong, but it'll be fine with this one. So we're going to put that there and have our base. I'll put all of our layers down over here. We'll get our base out and stamp our pretty little flower buds. Now this stamp set is really for fall, but I love it. And these cards have been some of my favorite that I've made from the new catalog. So I'm just inking that up and putting it in the bottom to put on my insert. Perfect. So I'm going to set that one aside, and I will wash it as soon as we're done here. I hope you guys are having fun. I've really enjoyed being back and visiting with you guys. I hope you're getting some good crafting done too while I'm crafting, Lauren, if you're still with me. That's one of my favorite things to do is find some of my favorite people, like Robin or Rhonda Wade or Kylie Bertucci. I love looking up their YouTube channel while I'm crafting and just craft along with them while they're crafting. Sometimes I'm not able to catch them live, but there's just something fun about turning on my screen and hearing them visiting with me. Even if I'm not chatting with them the whole time, it feels like I have company in my house. So I totally do the same thing when I'm crafting as you are right now, Lauren. I feel like my Stampin' crafting friends are, we have something kindred in common, and yes, that's exactly what I do. For a while I was watching things like Gilmore Girls and things, but it just felt like so much more fun when I had crafting friends doing the same thing that I was doing at the same time. So I can totally relate to that. That's why I love when my demonstrator friends join me when I'm live, because I know that that's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm happy that you're here. So I'm just using my paper snips to cut around this image there. So that is the end of that. And then we are going to just put our base together. This one is a little bit easier just because this braided linen trim is so much easier to work with, and I am so happy that they kept it in the carrying over list because I love it. I love to pull it apart and get that really crinkled linen thread when you take it all apart, and it looks really cool when you unweave it. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to tape it down, but it is super cool. And I love when Stampin' Up! Comes out with products that have like more than one ways that we can use them. And they do it all the time. They're so good at it. So I'm just going to tape this down to some of my favorite retired designer series paper that I will probably still sneak away to use from time to time. I totally love all of these colors that are in this paper pack. Those fall colors are my favorite. They're the ones that I gravitate towards for most of the time in my clothes and in my home decor. And so it was not any surprise at all that that was one of my favorites from the new, or from the holiday catalog when it came out. So we just literally taped that down just like the last card, And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of the edges of my Stampin' Dimensionals because I love using them all the way. They're the best. Okay, that's probably way more than enough. I'm just going to tape these down. Yesterday, though, when I was crafting, instead of turning on some Crafting Friends with me, I totally binge watched all of the newest season that's on Netflix of When Calls the Heart, because I don't have cable, and so the whole time that those episodes are out, I follow some of those people on Instagram, and I know what's happening in their stories, so I kind of know what's happening or what's coming up, but I don't watch them usually until the season is already over and they put them on Netflix. And so I saw that they put the new season up. My mama told me about it, and I knew I wanted to watch it when I had some time. So we're just going to use a glue dot to put down on the back of our braided linen trim or linen thread. And this one only takes one because it's so little. But I love it. I love it. Okay, so super easy, and we did not even go that far over our time limit. I've totally gone longer before. You want to see how many cards we made tonight? Because it was a lot. So I'm going to set all of these extra things aside, and I'm going to line up all of the, yes, binge watching's my favorite. All right, so you want to see all the ones we made tonight. So we made this one, and we made this one, and we made this one, and we made this one. So I'll do this like that. And then we made both of these and both of these. We have been busy. So I'm super excited that it worked out for me to make all of them because I loved making them yesterday with all of those other products. So these two over here are the ones that inspired the ones to the left there. So I used Christmas stamps and retiring Christmas paper from the holiday catalog, and then I wanted to create these current product cards to go matching with them. So if I put that one there and this one here, we kind of get to see the difference that we had there. So those are there. And then you get to see both of these. And then, let's see, is that all of them? Yeah. So I have two of each card that we made. And then those I have double because I loved cutting up all that paper and using it. So I hope you guys had fun tonight, and I hope that it's been helpful to get some more inspiration and ideas for creating a lot of fun things in not very much time. So I know that I get to be with you next Sunday, so I am looking forward to designing some new projects to make. I'm really thinking I might do a scrapbook layout because it's been so long since I've made one. I'm kind of having withdrawals. So we'll see how good I am at getting cards out in the mail this week, and then we'll go from there. But I am excited that I will be back with you next Sunday to create again. And I hope you guys all have a great week. I hope you have fun finishing your swaps, Lauren, and thanks everybody else that was able to join us tonight and anyone who's watching the replay. I love my Sunday nights with you guys, and I hope that you love them too. So I will see you all later.